see you again.
It's wonderful to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very energized to be here. It's the place where the global agenda is being formed right now, Davos in Switzerland, where the big multinational corporations are meeting up with the heads of state across the world.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you invited?
No, of course not. But there wouldn't have been a point for me being invited because all the speeches, that's been my major point of visiting this place. The speeches are online available. Everybody can watch it. But the interesting part is what's happening in the streets, in the cafes, around the conference center. And that's been, so far, it's been fascinating for us to meet with people, to speak with people, and to see how this global consensus about the totalitarian control state that they're trying to forge on us is being created.
It's fantastic. It's like Disney World.
One of the members of the parliament, what do you see of the officials, government officials from Netherlands participating in this?
Well, there are quite a few of them here. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Economic Affairs, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Financial Affairs, and the Dutch government is very submissive to the globalist agenda. They are willing to implement anything. They're willing to do anything to please them. And I'm here partly to connect with other anti-globalists around the world, but also to show to the people in the Netherlands, to show to the people in my constituency what is going on with their government. It's their elected government, but they're here selling out their very own country.
Mm-hmm. So this year, they are talking about like something divided world, connecting divided world, something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about their theme?
Well, I think a divided world is a multipolar world. And a multipolar world to me is a free world. Because if you have competing blocks of power, what you're going to get is people not being subjected to a single unipolar source of power and source of control. So I'm in favor of a divided world. I'm in favor of a multipolar world. But the people here, are not, because they want to control everything. So that is why they're so fanatic about the conflict in Ukraine. That's why they're so fanatic about the climate change mystique. That's why they are so eager to dilute our national social cohesions in our respective nations through migration, to create a world where there's only a single humanity rather than several national identities. And so all of the elements of their globalist agenda, they fit together. And what they're ultimately aiming for is quasi-totalitarian control through multinational corporations, through supranational legislation like the World Health Organization, the EU, NATO, you name it, the United Nations. And that would be the end of democracy. It would be the end of national communities. And it would be the end of freedom.
Yes. You are very vocal about this issue, even in Congress.
Yes.
Klaus Schwab kan trots op jullie zijn. De globalistische plannen kunnen doorgang vinden en de volgende stap richting mass surveillance en totale controle kan worden gezet.
Dank u wel.
And I saw last year, they exactly, I don't know which department, but in the Congress you are being censored. Like
Yes,
you are
yeah.
not allowed to talk.
Well, actually, it's
What
even worse.
happened?
What happened is that the government walked out on me while I was giving a speech. And what I was saying was that one of the prominent members of our cabinet, the vice prime minister, went to a notorious college in Oxford. It's called St. Anthony's College, and it's widely known as Spy College because it was a place where cultural Marxism and globalism was being taught to students, while at the same time secret services, government agencies and so on and so forth were recruiting their best people there for decades. And it's still a center of deep state recruitment, let's say. So it's generally known as spy college. And so I mentioned that she was from that spy college, and therefore it shouldn't surprise us perhaps that this government, the current Dutch government, is so vocally globalist and is so explicitly cultural Marxist. But for some reason that touched a sensitive nerve, and she walked out.
Not some reason, but a very reason.
En de hele generaties Europeanen werden zodoende onderwezen door Marxisten, of ze nu pro-Sovjet of pro-Mao waren. Een goed voorbeeld is St. Anthony's College in Oxford, waar Sigrid Kaag haar MPhil heeft gedaan. En wat weinig meer is in feite dan een opleidingsinstituut voor westerse geheime diensten. Dat wil dus zeggen voor precies de globalistische elites die achter de schermen onze levens willen plannen.
Meneer Baudet, we hebben de afspraak gemaakt. Het gaat niet over de persoon. De minister is hier aanwezig als minister van Financiën. Het gaat er helemaal niet over waar zij gestudeerd heeft. Dus ik vind ook een soort complot over waar ze gestudeerd heeft, vind ik echt niet gepast. Nee, ik wil er ook niet over discussiëren. U gaat gewoon verder met uw betoog. Ja. U gaat verder.
St. Anthony's College staat bekend als de Spy College in Oxford.
U gaat verder.
En dat is waar de Britse geheime dienst mensen recruteerde. Dat is een gegeven, dat is een feit.
U
kan
gaat
iedereen opzoeken.
Ja.
En het laat zien hoe verbonden het marxisme was met de deep state. Al decennia en nog steeds.
U rondt af, meneer Baudet.
Nou, die mensen dus, die nu weglopen. Ja, die mensen, de erfgenamen van deze misdadige ideologie, die de Franse en Russische revoluties heeft veroorzaakt. Een ideologie die zich transformeerde tot cultureel marxisme in de tweede helft van de 20e eeuw. Die mensen hebben de agenda van het moderne globalisme bepaald. En ik kan niet begrijpen waarom de leden van het kabinet nu weglopen. Het is een feit dat Sigrid Kaag aan St. Anthony's College in Oxford heeft gestudeerd. En het is ook een feit dat dit een perfect voorbeeld is van de verbondenheid van geheime diensten, marxisme en de recrutering van de mondiale deep state.
Ik schors de vergadering even voor een moment.
And since that speech, she has been pushing for a new bill to make it easier to outlaw political parties in the Netherlands. And so they're actually pushing now for a ban on our party, on our political Forum for Democracy in the Netherlands. They're so uneasy about these kinds of criticisms. It's really very revealing.
Wow, it's so contradictory to what they are saying. No one will be behind.
Tolerance, inclusion. But when there's real diversity, you know, they don't want that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
for
speaking out, and please give the world last message.
So we are the anti-globalists, and we're uniting here in Davos, while the globalists are behind the watchtower there, behind the armed security guards, gathering as well. But just know that there are more of us than there are of them. We have freedom on our side. We're striving for democracy. We're striving for our fundamental rights. And we really should continue to connect across the globe to defend our liberties, our democracies, and the sovereignty of our nations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ご覧いただきましてありがとうございます。金浜そこチャンネルは視聴者の皆さんに支えられています。ぜひ応援をよろしくお願いいたします。